Good evening. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Renee Green.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Belay,
Here.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Here.
Mr. Duray, Ms. Green,
Here.
Mr. Howard, Mr. Lamar,
Here.
Mr. Livingston,
Here.
Ms. Paletti,
Here.
Mrs. Stradiron.
Here. We're going to go to the public comment on agenda items. You'll have 5 minutes to discuss agenda item. Please state your name and the agenda item that you are speaking on. There's nobody signed up for agenda items. Would anybody like to speak on agenda items? Okay, we'll go to non-agenda items. First name on the list is the Parent-Teacher Organization.
Thank you. Sorry. Good evening. My name is Pani Prakash. I'm the PTO president at Meadow Hill School. I actually want to apologize because the parents that were supposed to be here tonight are stuck in traffic, so they are not here to speak on what we like to speak about. So I would just kindly ask if we could be added to the next PTO meeting, board meeting. So, thank you. My apologies.
Thank you. Sarah Maida.
Oops. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Maida. I live in the town of Newburgh, worked in the city for most of my career, and I'm here tonight to express my support for the board's decision to file a complaint with the Commissioner of Education asking for the current board president to be removed from this Board of Education. Mr. Stradiron, during his short tenure, has been completely ineffectual, impulsive, and unprofessional. I didn't think things could get worse than having a police presence at one of the first board meetings where he sat as board president. Then I had hoped things wouldn't get worse than having the board committees disbanded because his committee assignments were so poorly thought out and inequitable that he could not get the support of the board. However, I realized the board president had reached a new low during the last meeting when he threw a series of childish temper tantrums that now form the basis for the board's complaint. You can watch him publicly disparage the superintendent. You can watch him impugn the character and integrity of 2 of the new board members. You can watch him disclose information from executive session, and you can see the seating chart that's discussed in one of the charges. And I shouldn't have to tell anyone who's here and who has actually read this complaint that this is important because of the potential legal liability these actions may have exposed the district to. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Stradiron's approach appears to be to portray himself as a victim of the system he's currently leading and has been for 3 months. I say it's unsurprising because this is a pattern for him. I've watched this Board of Education over the course of several years, and a theme Mr. Stradiron repeatedly returns to is to portray himself and his family as being victimized by this district. He did it when he claimed a former clerk of the board was nefariously stealing his campaign signs, and I offer that one for a little levity because the next one is even less funny. He did it when he filed a $45 million lawsuit because one of his children had to share the title of valedictorian with another student. That lawsuit was thrown out for lack of merit after costing the district hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mr. Stradiron is not the victim here. The victims are the students, district faculty and staff, and our community. This board needs a steady leader who will not impulsively lash out and expose the district to potential legal liability. And most importantly, who will restore the focus of the board to the students and those who are doing the work to educate them. Mr. Stradiron has had 3 months to be that leader and has proven he's not up to the task. Whether his actions rise to the level of removing him from the board is ultimately in the commissioner's hands at this point. There's a legal process I hope the board members will trust, respect, and refrain from actively undermining by speaking publicly about it while it's pending. For that reason, I'd like to speak directly to Mr. Lamar, to Ms. Boulay. For the love of God, please stop posting on Facebook. Better yet, delete your Facebook accounts. Because what I saw this weekend, thank you, is an embarrassment to our community. For you to be speaking publicly in what appears to be an attempt to undermine litigation commenced by this Board of Education you sit on demonstrates a staggering lack of judgment. I didn't think I could be more troubled by anything in Mr. Lamar's video than I was by the lack of professionalism it takes to video yourself speaking as a school board member from your bedroom in your pajamas. But then Mr. Lamar started speaking. I don't have the time or inclination to get into all of the things I believe are problematic in that video. And frankly, I couldn't get through the whole thing. But what I will say is he might have understood why it was not wise or permissible for him to make those statements or been more careful in what he did say if he had attended the special meeting where the board voted on this litigation and was presumably advised by and would have presumably been advised by district counsel. As for Ms. Boulay, I was still reeling from watching Mr. Lamar when I saw that video. She had posted 5 videos. I knew I wasn't going to make it through all of those, so I watched the shortest one that was titled Release of Executive Session Information. In that video, she closed by asking, and I quote, and I wouldn't have said it this way, so I wanted to make clear, I quote, should 5 members be petitioned to the Commissioner of the Board of Education to be removed from this Board of Education? She cited a policy, I believe it was 2150. She claimed she was quoting it, but then paraphrased it incorrectly. I took about 10 minutes total to look at that policy and the district's other policies, and what I found was 2160, where it's very clear that with a quorum and with only limited exceptions for certain legally protected information, the board can, in fact, vote to release information disclosed during executive session. So either Ms. Boulay intentionally neglected to mention the existence of a policy that would have answered her own question and demonstrated that 5 board members had voted, the 5 board members who had voted acted within their authority, or her reading comprehension is sorely lacking. To the rest of the board, thank you for those who voted in favor of filing this complaint to remove Mr. Stradiron. Thank you for taking action to move this board forward, and it's my sincere hope that this is a first step in getting the focus back on the students and those who work tirelessly to educate them. Thank you.
David Ryan?
Good evening. David Ryan. I live in the town of Newburgh. I'm not going to inject myself into your inner squabble. It's really kind of the height of dysfunction. I mean, a lot of families are dysfunctional, but like I've never seen a board so dysfunctional. I really just wish, and I'm going to have to be colloquial for a minute, just wish you get your shit together and just kind of figure it out, because this is a little ridiculous. You're here to do the business of the children, and the only thing since the 3 times I've been up here this school year, that I've seen you do is give increases to a couple of the executive members and not approve a contract for the CSEA, for the NTA, and for, I believe, the administrators as well, right? So why don't you stop, like messing about with each other and start doing what we elected you to do? It would really be nice to think about the kids and the teachers that are there to educate them and the support staff that's there to, keep the place clean and keep the place, functioning and get the copy paper running, Like we still have a copy paper shortage, and you're worrying about, other things? Really, come on. I asked you a couple months ago, I'm going to ask you again, are you cuckoo? What are you here for? Are you here to have like a pissing match with each other? Who's, who can outdo who? Stop, please. We need a contract for the CSEA. We need a contract for the NTA. It's enough already. We're tired of this. The electorate is tired of this. 3 of you will be up for election, re-election next year. I don't think any of you right now would have our support. And I would like to think I could support some of you, if any of you. But right now, you're not doing what I hired you to do, which is to oversee the superintendent and set policy, not argue amongst each other. Get it together. You're here for 12,000 students, not for 5 executive administrators or yourselves, and make yourselves look good in front of this camera over here so that everyone can say, see, look at me. Stop it already. Get the contract together. Take care of the teachers, because they're the ones that are taking care of our kids. It's enough. I think I speak for everyone in this room. We've had enough. Really. Enough. Did you hear me? It's enough already. Stop it. Stop it. You don't like this guy? Okay. There's going to be an election. Go out and campaign against him. Get him out. Get his people out. You like him? Then come here and support him. And tell the people that are voting against the things that he's supporting how you feel. But stop the public bickering. You're making Newburgh look like a bunch of fools. We look foolish amongst this state. How many other school districts are doing what we're doing? None. The infighting is ridiculous. I sat on this board for 3 years. We had disagreements. Pop Lewis and I, rest his soul, didn't always agree. But we kept it in the back room. We certainly didn't bring it out here. And we certainly didn't, raise it to the point where we were having people, where the state's going to be brought in. Maybe the state should come in. Maybe we need somebody from the state sitting in one of those chairs just to sit with you and just kind of like make sure you're keeping to the business of the people, not the business of yourselves. You lined your pockets. How about lining the pockets of the teachers? How about lining the pockets of the support staff? That's who needs your help. Stop fighting. We've had enough.
Would anyone else like to speak on non-agenda items?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's been a while, but I'll make this brief. So I've worked for the district for 24 years, and I love my school district. I love my job, but I can't stand the scene. I've witnessed more cases than I care to admit of good people being treated unfairly and the others being rewarded. I think that's why I feel so passionately about what's going on now with my Board of Education, because I'm seeing good people being treated unfairly. Why? Because they know that change needs to occur. And I ask that people understand that sometimes change is difficult for everyone, but sometimes change needs to occur. As a parent and a child of the Newburgh and Large City School District, I know how important your work is. How is there time for any of this? I know how busy I am in my day-to-day job, and I just maintain buildings. I just wonder where the time comes from. For the good of Newburgh and Large City School District as a whole, and I say this because from the minute that man sat down in a chair, what he did was raised questions. And the minute he raised questions, I watched everyone stir. And I watched eyes roll. A question shouldn't be the be-all and end-all of a person's decision-making policy. Just because someone asks a question, it's the way my board ran when I was the CSEA president here for 10 years. We did do our arguments in the back room, there's no doubt about it, but when we came in front of our membership, we were a unified group. So I echo the statements of Mr. Rain. Good intentions die when overcome by self-interest and ego. Please do the right thing. I want to keep Darren Stridiron as the president of this Board of Education. I think that he's good for us because he raises those questions. I know some of you may not agree, but questions need to be asked. Things are not perfect. It's not a perfect world, but sometimes things need to be asked, and I like people that ask questions. So I give my support to Mr. Darren Stridiron tonight. Thank you. Hold on, I'm sorry. I wore a pin tonight to remind you. CSEA, contract now.
Would anyone else like to speak on non-agenda items?
Good afternoon, everyone. Superintendent. Every meeting I come here and I speak, and every meeting is different, but it's the same, right? For people that don't understand about a leader leading, I'm a military man. I could never do anything to disrespect my leader. Though I would have been demoted and put on special duty because I'm disrespected my leader. So we can disagree, and I said this, and I keep saying this. That's why you have executive meetings, so that you can disagree, but when you come out here, you cannot disrespect my superintendent. I'm not going to have it. I don't care who's sitting at that desk. I'm not having that. Because that is so wrong on so many different levels, right? Some of the same people that's disrespecting her voted to hire her. Make that make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me. Give her time. For everybody that wanted to dump on her that she fell in the district, I've been here since 1982. This district has been in trouble since I've been here. So there's no way she's going to come in here within 2 years or 3 years or 4 years and change what's been going on. We have to work together, not just the board, but the people out here in the community. That's why it's important for every board member to show up to these events that go on so they can get to know their community and get to know what they thinking. Because you guys that we elected, supposed to be for all the people, not just the people that elected you, but for everybody in this district. Because that's what leaders do. They lead. And for us to be still here with all the stuff that is going on, and we have some good things going on in this district, don't get me wrong, but for all the other stuff, contract talks, and all of that, that's what we need to be focusing on. Not this craziness. It doesn't make sense to me, people. It doesn't, because we've grown. And we acting like kids. But we want our kids to act a certain way. But we can't even act grown up. So how are we supposed to tell these young folks how to act when we can't do it ourselves? Because that's why I act a certain way when I had kids, because I knew they was looking up to me. Whether I wanted them to do that or not, that's irrelevant. But that's what they do. And trust me, kids want discipline. They do. But if we're not there, then they're going to be lost. It's going to be lost. So it's up to the grown-ups. Let's start acting like we grown-ups, please. The only other thing I want to ask and is that building that we were supposed to be building. What's going on with that? I haven't heard anything about that building for a while. I need to know what's going on with that money. I need to know what's going on with that building, because that building is important. That's why we voted to build that building. All right? Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on non-agenda items?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sade Burks, You all know me because I've been at every board meeting. And I'm just gonna really back up what everyone has gotten up here and said. I think we've all forgotten the reason why we're up here. I think we've all forgotten the reason why we come here. The children. The children is the reason. We've lost the bickering, the fighting, everything else we've lost sight. No matter what your personal reasons are, we've lost sight of that. Whether you agree or whether you don't agree, you've taken the issues of the district and made them your own. You guys have all taken the children's education and what you agree or disagree on, and you've made them your own. It's all over social media. It's all over everywhere. I went on social media today for like maybe 5 minutes and I got off because it's really disgusting. And you guys are all guilty of it. You guys are all guilty of running the social media, whether it's memes, whether it's subs, or whether it's just straight out calling board members out. You guys are all guilty of it. And then when the backlash comes, I'm going to be real. I'm going to say it like a parent. You come and you cry. And then you cry to the public, and then you want the public to come and stand on one side, whether it's Shred Iron, whether it's Howard. Everybody has the public speaking against each other. Y'all even got the public fighting against each other. I've gotten messages. I've gotten Facebook messages. I've chose to ignore them. You know why? Because I'm an adult. I could have took the message. I could have posted it on Facebook. I could have did all of that and had people on my side, but why? Because when it's time to address that message and when that person wants to address me face to face, we can sit down and we can have an adult conversation because we both have children in the district. And at the end of the day, whether we agree or disagree, I think we all want our children to have a good education. Y'all need to get it together. It's absolutely ridiculous. The fact that we're even standing here going through this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sick of it. I'm missing out on my son's football practice tonight. That's what y'all should be worried about. The football game that just happened, we had a good football game. Thank you for beefing up the security and having everything go straight. I was able to sit and enjoy it and watch my 7-year-old son run out on the field, not having to worry about gunshots or anything. I really enjoyed it, so I commend y'all for that. Worry about the CSCA and the teacher contracts. Worry about the building that Mr. Harvey just spoke about. But we're up here, coming up here, talking about Facebook beef and social media beef. How old are we? How old are you guys? Who are y'all representing? And again, y'all want the kids to look up to y'all? What do they have to look up to? What do they have to look up to? There was a fight at Heritage Junior High. Nobody knows about it. You know who knows about it? I know about it. Because my nephew came home crying. And he told his mom, I wanted to help my friend, but you told me to stay out of trouble. So if my 12-year-old nephew can listen to his mother and do what's right and stay out of trouble, because when he knows that when he go home, if he jumped in that fight, he going to get his behind tore up. Because now you done messed up yourself in school. What's the matter with y'all as adults? Have y'all conversations in the background, disagree in the background. When y'all come out here, y'all are a united front, and y'all are not united. It's ridiculous, and y'all need to get it together. Hopefully, I don't have to come to another board meeting where we are talking about the board members fighting against each other. Hopefully, we can come to a board meeting and talk about the special education system, which that is going in. I came here and I fought for my son. Thankful, I got my son situated and got him in the right class. I know there are some people that are up here fighting for special education, and I commend you for it, because we have to fight for our kids. There's some other stuff that's going on. Y'all got to get it together. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to talk for my 5 minutes, and maybe it'll be more, because for some reason, every meeting we come to, everybody get up here and tell y'all to get it together, and y'all don't got it together yet. The fact that the state got to come in, it's ridiculous. Y'all need somebody to parent y'all? Come on. But y'all want to run the district of kids. Get it together. Let's get about the children, and let's get these contracts in track, and let's do what we got to do for the kids. Good night.
Would anybody else like to speak on non-agenda items?
Hi, I'm Tracy. I have 3 children in the district. I have one that has an IEP. My daughter graduated. I've said this. She had autism, and I had to help her through COVID in order for her to get her strength to come back into the classroom and be able to get back into the curriculum. I wanted to talk about the special education because my concern was the topics that were brought up during the last meeting. And it does disturb me that I'm up at 10:30, 11 o'clock watching board meetings because I can't sit here because I do have to go home to get dinner. And it upsets me that at 10:30 at night, I can't respond. So I really wish you would try to condense the meeting to that's not past 10 o'clock so that we can hear what you're saying, because there was a lot that I missed, but I had to rewind and go back. So my concern was the talk about the 55 on the report card, which I know everything was voted. And that's another thing that's confusing me. When I'm listening online, it's hard, it's hard to, sometimes I think some of the members say, what do we vote on? Do we vote on that? Wait, go back. Did someone second that? Did someone first that? And then I'm starting to get confused on what exactly you voted on. So that, I don't know if you can clear that up too, because there's a lot of talk with the lawyers back and forth on what's being voted on. It's definitely confusing at home. But I really would like to address Ms. Boulay on, there are some things that you addressed for special education, which was the 55, the credit recovery, and there was another one. Those programs really help people that need it. Sometimes I think I hear you say, oh, it's related to athletics, or people are trying to stay, or when, oh, that was it, when the students are staying till past 22, or there was an age. The reason really these are set up is because there's a SCOOT program, I believe it's called, that was set up to help students with disabilities that have a difficult time in transitioning to college, that they can stay here and get those trainings, and that's why those programs are set up. They're not set up so that people can play football. They're not set up for athletics. They're set up for people with disabilities, and I really hope that you look into that more as speaking against programs that are for the kids, because they're not set up for people to just stay home and not attend school, because there's no one here that can graduate with not attending school. I've never heard of that, and I don't think that that's true with the 55 on the report card, as I've heard you state before. So the other issue was, it is disturbing, Facebook. It is disturbing that I see Record Online taking up stories about Mr. Stridiron. I understand that you're upset and there are discrepancies going on, but to get petitions out, I mean, it's just the focus is really just too much on discrepancies and not really on the students. And I really do hope you attend more events in the city of Newburgh and really see, and I've asked you to attend events before. If you can come out and feel the love that the city of Newburgh has, maybe you'll stop getting so upset with social media and stop getting so upset and trying to vent out on social media and try to keep it in the back rooms, so that if you go to these events, maybe you'll put some light on those events, and also the contracts for, of course, the teachers. I mean, I don't know why there's no petition, there's no focus. I don't see Blaze talking about it. I don't see Blaze talking about any football events. I definitely see focus on Stridiron, and that's all I see is your face all over when it comes to the city of Newburgh. And it's upsetting because if you care and you love the city, and I've seen your videos, I've seen many videos, I've seen Lamar's videos, it's very upsetting. I would never even put a camera in my own bedroom. But it's upsetting. That should be taken off. That seriously, someone in their bedroom talking from the board should be taken down. I mean, and the state should come in to see some of and it's not that nothing should be questioned and nothing should be stirred. There should be questions, but there just shouldn't be backlash against other members. That's all that is going on. Like, there's too much arguing on Facebook for people to see, and in these articles, and it's just the light is not being shined on the kids. That's all. Thanks.
Would anyone else like to speak on agenda items? Non-agenda items?
Thank you. I had stepped away, so I didn't have an opportunity to sign in. So just really quickly, two agenda items, 8.6 and 8.7. 8.6 is the HOPE program. So I'm hoping that you will approve that. And for the additional appointments, it's very important that our children have as much support as they can in and outside of the school. And then also agenda item 8.7, resolution to approve Newburgh Free Library homework help. This is very, very important, and I noticed that you have a monetary value. And just really quickly, someone mentioned the amount of money that it took for this litigation could be used for homework help. Our children sometimes are struggling. Some of them don't have the necessary internet or things that they need at home. So the Newburgh Free Library is a place that they come and they can get their homework done and succeed. So the more help that we can give our children, the better they will become beyond academy field. Mr. Harvey alluded to a scripture that I was reminded of, and in the Bible it says, when I was a child, I acted like a child, and when I became a man, I acted like a man, and I'm just going to leave it at that. That conversation has been said over and over again. And I just want to make clear, the last time I was here celebrating the first woman of color, but she is also qualified. So she wasn't just hired because she's a woman of color. She was qualified, and she's more than qualified. And I'm sure, and I don't want her to do so, but I'm sure she could go to any other district, be paid a lot more money, and succeed. So we want to make sure that she knows that she has our support, and that we want her here for at least another 7 years. It takes about 5 years for changes to really be implemented, and then for another 5 years for those changes to grow. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Enough has been said. I hope you hear everything what people have said. Let's put your egos aside. This is really about not just our children, but our families. So in addition to going to the football games, don't just go, but introduce yourselves, get to know the families that are there. Each one of you should have an adoptive family of some sort that you keep connected to, that you can hear directly from them. And before I finish, I call him my little helper. He wanted to talk about the hoodie code of conduct. We're going into hoodie season. A lot of children like to keep their hoodies on. Unfortunately, that becomes a distraction to some teachers, and then they're sent off to the principal's office. They're missing class. We want our children in class in school. So let's just, maybe we can look at that code of conduct that was put in place, maybe look at the entire code of conduct. Some things are probably out of date. And maybe we can put together a parent and student advisory committee to review that code of conduct so that we can keep our children in class, in school, and the teachers can actually instruct instead of focusing on someone who has their hoodie up. Thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, the city of Newburgh didn't have their city council meeting last night, so it's tonight at 7 p.m., so some of us will be leaving. But we thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on non-agenda items? Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby recesses into executive session for the following purpose: collective bargaining under the Taylor Law, CSEA, and SAA, discussion regarding current litigation, Vaughn versus NECSD, index number 21CV05623, and to obtain advice from legal counsel. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Dure? Yes. Ms. Green? Yes. Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Not sure how long we'll be.
The New York State Education Department has lifted its embargo on grades 3 through 8 ELA and math scores. My team and I have analyzed the data and are prepared to share with our community in November. This will be some good news for our district. Now that the data has been released, I will be working with my team to establish my goals to lead the district and hope to share those with you this fall. Our next Parent Connect will be held on Thursday, October 19th at 6 p.m. at NFA Main Campus. This session will offer family support on who to turn to for various questions and answer various questions about New York State Regents examinations. I will be officially launching my Superintendent's Parent Council with a trick and treat on Tuesday, October 24th. More specific information will be shared with our community this week. Registration for our Empire After School programs are open. Families of middle and high school students who wish to enroll students in our after-school program should check their email or visit our district website for more information. On Saturday, we are seeking volunteers to help plant trees at NFA Main Campus from 1 to 4, thanks to the generous donation of the Greater Newburgh Parks Conservancy. As a reminder, we rely on the participation of our families and community members to help educate our children. We each play a critical role in this important task. I look forward to seeing many of you at our upcoming events. Thank you. We will not present item 5.2 tonight. We will be presenting tomorrow. I ask that you I'm going to this resolution 5.3 to approve a lease agreement with ICCL LLC and Newburgh Free Library. That's item 5.3.
Yeah, use your mic.
For me. Okay. I have a question about the after-school program. I heard it, but I didn't hear everything. You said that parents should look for something for the after-school program you mentioned? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. The after-school program, I heard you mention it, but I didn't hear everything. What did you say about the after-school program? Because somebody was asking about it.
So we have it on our website, and they should also check their email addresses, but we know sometimes our families change sometimes email addresses. So certainly on the district website, we do have after-school program information under Empire.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
If there are any families who need additional support, please direct them to my office.
But that's not additional support. It's like the after-school programs that they have in the schools. That's what this is.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is about the lease for the new library space. What's the term of the lease? How long?
I think it's 3 years, but I want to pull it up and I want to read it to you. The term goes from November 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2026. It's 3 years.
Because one thing, I saw you guys found a new space, and that's great, but it just, the Newburgh Mall creates so many more opportunities for people just going to the mall with their kids because of the record store, because of the GameStop, because of other things, the pizza place. This other location doesn't have that kind of foot traffic, so that's, are we still going to pursue, hopefully at the end of this lease, that's the only thing I just wanted to say. Thank you.
Can I have a motion and a second on this item? It's the resolution to approve the lease agreement with ICCL LLC and Newburgh Free Library. Motion and a second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Any other questions on this item? Roll call.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straydiron?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my items.
Now go to the clerk of the board, Ms. Novotny.
Thank you. I have the approval of minutes from September 26, 2023, regular meeting, October 6, 2023, special meeting, and October 7, 2023, special meeting.
We have a motion. Would anybody have to separate any of these items? I have a motion and a second to put these on. There's a motion and a second first. Motion and a second? You want to separate them?
I want to separate.
Oh, you want to separate? Oh, sorry.
I have a question on each one, so can they please be separated?
We'll take each one separate. Motion and a second on 6.1, approval of minutes, September 26, 2023, regular meeting. Question on this item? Ms. Boulay.
I have a general question. When we approve a regular meeting set of minutes, does that include any minutes that would be for executive session as well?
This is just for the regular meeting. The executive session minutes are not part of that.
Right. So they would be separate to be approved?
I'm sorry, David wants to respond.
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Shaw.
Yes. Yeah, there's separate minutes to be approved separately.
Okay, so if I haven't seen them be separated in the past,
I'd like to see what you looked at, that you said were not separated,
okay.
because they are separate minutes, in a separate minutes book.
Do you want to mention now? Well, I just have the question. So for example, what was on the petition regarding Mr. Stridiron? Those minutes? I don't remember ever approving those minutes of that executive session or even seeing those minutes.
Those minutes should be prepared for board review and approval.
So perhaps we need to talk about that in a different spot because I don't remember seeing them or approving them, and I went and checked on the site, and it was only the regular meeting minutes that were on there. So I'm just confused about the procedure. If we have something happen in executive session for which there is a vote, should we not have a second set of minutes? It may not be able to be released to the public, but is there a way, and again, we can talk about this later, but the next time we have something like that, how do we go about approving them?
Mr. Shaw.
They would be approved by the Board of Education at a meeting, so they should be prepared by the clerk and for your approval.
Mr. Lamar?
Just for clarification, so I just want to make sure I've got this right. So every meeting where we go to executive session and there is a vote that is recorded, any of those executive sessions, there should be a separate set of minutes that are approved by the board.
No, the only formal vote, there are possibly two, but one that would be common, voting on Section 3028 charges is permissible in executive session, and that's been the case since a joint opinion of counsel, of the Commissioner of Education, and the Executive Director of the Committee on Open Government, formal opinion number 239. The other thing you could vote on in executive session, but you do not, and universally boards do not, would be to arrange for the placement of students with disabilities. That's typically done in an open meeting using student numbers that aren't identifiable as to a particular student. So discussions in executive session would not bear minutes except for voting on 3028 proceedings.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, so if that event happened on that hearing and we have not seen minutes on that meeting, which I cannot find online, I looked, and since we can't take notes, we're prohibited from taking notes to remember who did what, where are we now?
Well, those in the executive session would have known what the action was and what the voting was upon, so that can be prepared for the next board meeting.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this item, 6.1? Roll call.
Do we need a motion to?
We have to motion in second already.
Mr. Duray?
Yeah.
Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar? Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Stridiron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Item 6.2, approval of the minutes of October 6, 2023 special meeting. Can I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Boulay.
I'm sorry, this is the meeting that I presided on, and there's no minutes up here for approval, so I'm wondering why it's on here to be voted on.
We'll do the next two at the next meeting.
I'd like to suggest that there be a time for advice of counsel on this issue. We would meet privately.
We still have to table these two items.
I'd suggest postponement to a time later in the meeting.
Can I have a motion to postpone? Sure, Ms. Levenstein.
So I just want to make a comment on this, and I don't know if it was an oversight or whatever, why it wasn't on there, but I don't know why it was brought up here at the table when we're voting on it to say this item is missing. I know Ms. Novotny would have went out of her way if she was told prior to coming to this meeting that an item was not attached. I'm sure she would have. So I don't get why it was a gotcha thing on display now.
Ms. Boulay?
It's absolutely not a gotcha. I don't gotcha. I spent last night looking at all of the data that is not being presented today, about 6 hours worth, and then I worked forward. I phoned Ms. Novotny earlier this afternoon, telling her I was working forward. I had a question on the first thing. I did not look at this. I ran out of time. I'm sitting here now, and I see that there's no minutes attached. That's why I asked.
Ms. Novotny?
Ms. Boulay, I did call you afterwards when you brought it to my attention that there was something off with minutes from September 26th. I personally called you and let you know all the minutes has been uploaded, updated. You said thank you very much.
Right, and I ran out of time.
So we'll do a motion to postpone for these next, well, for this one, and we'll do the next one separately.
Postponement has to be to a set time, correct?
Later in the meeting.
Later in this meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Second.
Roll call, postpone.
Mr. Levenstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mr. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Item 6.3, approval of minutes, October 7, 2023, special meeting. Can I have a motion and a second for this item?
So moved.
Can I have a motion to postpone, please? Roll call to postpone.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levenstein? Yes. Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mr. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green?
Yes.
Item 7.1, President's Update. Ms. Green, did you have to say anything about the Science of Reading article that you mentioned?
I wanted to speak about that. I was going to try to talk about it in executive session, but the article that was included in the New York State School Board Association, it now says that SED, or the State Education Department of New York, is now embracing the science of reading. And there are some teachers that currently have some issues with the current reading program. So I'm still asking that administration meet with the teachers who have concerns about this current reading program. I know it's controversial, but I think it needs to be dealt with because Just like teachers deserve the respect of a contract, they also deserve the respect of their concerns to be addressed, as well as their expertise and knowledge of teaching reading to be acknowledged. It would be nice if they could sit at the table with administration and come to a solution, or at least come to some sort of constructive minds as what to do with the science of reading. I just really wish that this situation could be resolved, because it's been going on for a while, and I am advocating for it because I think it needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Ms. Boulay, do you have an update on Orange County School Boards Association?
Yes, thank you. I attended the Orange County School Board Association's monthly meeting last week, and I wanted to report back that we had a presentation by Elsie Rodriguez, who is the Superintendent of Schools of the Monroe-Woodbury School District, as well as a gentleman, Michael Martinez, who is the student representative on the Board of Education. And they presented to us, of which I have a copy that I'll forward to everyone on the board, of how they run a student ex officio on the board. So Education Law 1702 allows for a student representative on the Board of Education. In Monroe, they do it on the proposition, so the same time that school board members and the same time that the budget is voted on, a name goes up of a student to be voted in to sit on this board. The student does not have voting rights. The student does not attend executive session. However, the student does go to the schools, sets up an agenda and procedure to be the representative for K through 12 students. Each month, that student presents to the Board of Education. That student, by the way, is vetted out by the superintendent, and then in Monroe-Woodbury, there's an ad hoc committee of 4 board members who interview those candidates and then make that final selection. They began it in the 2016-2017 school year, and also that student representative has a project that they select, and they work after being mentored all year with the superintendent on an item of interest. So in Monroe-Woodbury, one year, a student representative did a major voter registration drive and registered so many students in the district. Michael this year is creating town halls for the schools so that there's a greater voice, and during his lunch periods, he would have a little office and open door, and people would go in. So I thought it was an interesting idea. I know that other school boards that were in attendance are exploring this possibility. So they were gracious enough to forward that presentation to me, and I will forward it to all of the board probably tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boulay. I had a few items that were supposed to be on the public agenda, but unfortunately the agenda items were not added to the public meeting. The first one was Ms. Tanika McCullough had come to the board about 6 weeks ago looking to ask for a waiver of fee for a right-to-read movie that was going to be at NFA Maine. I have not heard anything back about that, and I'm just hoping that at some point soon we could approve a waiver of fee so that the movie could be shown at NFA Maine. For the PTA, I had the waiver for up to 10 events for PTAs per school year. That fees would be covered by the same funding source that currently cover the district funding for the 2 per year or the 4 per year at the middle and the upper levels. There is a licensing fees which for Adobe software district-wide that it was set to expire, I believe, in a day or two, and hopefully that issue has been resolved, but I'm not sure. Hopefully we can get an update in the Board of Ed Weekly. And the committee assignments were ready. They were submitted to the board clerk for approval tonight, along with the community members, and hopefully at the next meeting that will be on the agenda. I see Assemblyman Ekus is here. Are you here to speak, Assemblyman, or? I just don't know if there's a way that you can.
I don't want to break the rules. I'm just here to be sure nobody's speaking about me.
Okay, thank you. And that's my president's update. We'll move on to Human Resources, Mr. McLemore.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the Human Resources agenda, I have items 8.1 through 8.14 for your consideration on tonight.
Would anyone like to separate out any of these items? Ms. Boulay.
8.1.
Is it the entire 8.1, or is there a specific line?
No, it's just B where the TBDs are.
Which I guess we should have to separate out. Is it 8.1B
3.
number 3? Okay, 8.1B3. Any other items to be separated out? Okay. Let's have a motion and a second for 8.1 through 8.14. Okay. Minus 8.1B3.
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Roll call. Oh, any questions on those items? Roll call.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
8.1B3. Can I have a motion and a second? Questions on this item? Ms. Boulay.
Just a question. So are we approving just a position because there's no person here and there's no amount of money?
Yes, so we resolved this late today, and we do have the name, we do have the salary.
Are you able, motion to amend, and then Mr. McLemore will state the name and the salary? Is that the procedure? Okay. Can I have a motion to amend?
So moved.
Okay. Please state the amendment.
Mr. President, I would have to go get that, I'm so sorry. We have it. It was done late today, and I can, if you don't mind, I can get it after we finish.
Well, that's the last. You have it? Okay. We might have it. Mr. Valley, you want to say the name?
Lisa Breha? Oh, sorry. Lisa Breha, I'm sorry, special education teacher at GLA probationary begin 10/30/2023 to 10/29/2027 at the salary BA 48-11, $85,916.77 plus 500, which equals to $86,416.77 prorated, with professional and license number 145.
Any discussion on this item? Roll call.
Mr. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
So I
Vote on the item as amended. Motion and second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
So sorry about that, Mr. President, on tonight.
You're good. You have another item?
Yes, I'd like to request permission to add an item.
Please state the item.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the board president to sign an agreement to settle the litigations of Vaughn versus Newburgh Enlarged City School District, et al., index number 19-CV-6760, NSR, and Vaughn versus Newburgh Enlarged City School District, et al., index number 21-CV-5623, JCM, both venued in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, as presented to the board at this meeting. A copy of said agreement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
Motion to add, please.
Second.
Roll call to add.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
I have a motion and a second to approve.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Green? Yes. Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
No.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mr. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes
Mr.
my
Duray.
items.
Mr. Duray, I'm sorry. Mr. Duray, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my items.
Thank you, Mr. McLemore. Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Ms. Roaring.
The Finance Division has items 9.1 to 9.8 for the board's consideration this evening.
Would anyone like to separate any of these items? Mr. Levinstein.
9.3, please.
Ms. Boulay.
9.2.
Anyone else? Can I have a motion and a second for 9.1 through 9.8? Minus 2 and 3. Thank you, Ms. Green. Any questions? Roll call.
Ms. Green? Yes. Mr. Lamar? Yes. Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
9.2. I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any questions on this item? Ms. Boulay.
Just a quick question. Line item 2410 is rental of real property. I'm just curious, is that when we rent out facility, like for games and stuff, or?
It can include that, yes.
So the 35,000, that would be like the amount we would get for, that's like a normal amount? Again, just curious.
That would be a historical average that was considered when we built the budget.
Thank you.
Any more questions on this item? Roll call.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Ms. Green? Yes. Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Roaring. Oh, I thought we did 9.3.
No.
Thank you. 9.3, can I have a motion and a second, please?
Second.
Any questions on this item? Mr. Levinstein.
I'd like to table this item, please.
Can I have a second on that?
Second.
Roll call to table.
Mr. Lamar? Yes. Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green?
Yes.
Motion to
Thank you. That concludes my items.
Thank you, Ms. Roaring. Assistant Superintendent, CIO, DPO, Ms. Peterson.
Good evening. Tonight on the agenda, I have items 10.1 to 10.3 for your consideration. 10.1 through 10.3.
Would anyone like to separate any of these items? Okay, motion and a second?
Second.
Any questions on this item? I do have one quick question. 10.1, copiers. Is this going to cover all the copiers in the district and fix all the copiers that we have right now?
This contract is not for copiers, it's for printer. So this is printer service management for ink and service of our individual printers.
Do we have a repair contract for copying machines?
That's not under my division.
Okay. Can we get some answers in the Board of Ed Weekly for the copying machines with the repairs? Because we have copying machines that aren't working for months. Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Belay?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my items.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Item 11, Assistant Superintendent Curriculum and Instruction Elementary, Ms. Moriarty. Items out. A motion and a second, please.
Second.
Questions on these items? Roll call.
Mr. Levinstein? Yes. Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Belay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my items.
Okay, the Empire Plan is mostly for middle and high school. They're going to have after-school programs for the elementary schools. That's what I was referring to, because I just texted my daughter, and she said, "Ma, it's not there."
The 21st Century Program, yes, for elementary schools.
So that's going to happen, because it's not on the website yet.
Yes. It's coming soon.
Okay.
All right.
Because I had my instructions, so I got to text her back.
Okay.
Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction Secondary, Dr. Farrell.
I gingerly touched and it went on. We have items 12.1 through 12.2 for your consideration this evening.
Would anybody like to separate the items? Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Okay.
Questions? Roll call.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mr. Straight-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Belay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green?
Yeah.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
That concludes my items. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Farrell. Assistant Superintendent of Exceptional Learners, Mr. Baer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Exceptional Learners has one item, item 13.1, for the board's consideration.
Can I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
Questions on the item? Ms. Boulay.
Okay, so the last meeting, I had asked this question, but Mr. Bear, I offer my condolences for your loss. I understand why it wasn't answered. So in what's presented here, if I take out from the counts that are automatically added up in these reports for the period of the 16th through the 29th, and I take out anyone who wasn't classified, there's a total, if my adding is correct, it was late, of 153 IEPs that were approved for this year between the 16th and the 29th. And the time before, at the last meeting, there was 32 of them. So the question that I asked last time, and I ask again now, these are for this year, and we're in October. How many more, roughly, do we need to go through to make sure that everyone has a current IEP this school year?
Chris? I think that's a little bit of confidential information, not for the floor.
Why?
Mr. Shaw?
I think that would be better presented, perhaps in a report after it's reviewed.
Any other questions on these items? Roll call.
Mr. Duray? Yes. Ms. Green? Yes. Mr. Lamar? Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mr. Straight Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my items.
We will go into executive session. It be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby recesses into executive session, into a proposed executive session to obtain advice from legal counsel. It will be approximately 10 minutes. Can I have a motion and a second? Roll call. Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar? Mr. Levinstein? Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mr. Straight Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Ms. Boulay? Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
We'll be back in 10 minutes. Can I get a motion to tape? We're going to bring back the two items from the clerk. That was number 6.2 and 6.3. Can I have a motion for that?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call to bring them back.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Yes. Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein? Yes. Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mr. Straight Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Okay, so we're, 6.2, approval of minutes of October 6, 2023, special meeting. We need a motion and a second.
Second.
Motion to table, please.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Levinstein? Yes. Ms. Paletti?
No.
Mr. Straight Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Boulay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Yes. Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
6.2, motion to table.
Number 6.3, we're going to have a motion to approve as is. Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight Iron?
Abstain.
Ms. Boulay?
Abstain.
Mr. Bergerelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar?
Abstain.
Did not pass.
Have a motion to close this meeting.
Second.
Roll call.
Seconded, sorry. Who second? Thank you. Ms. Paletti?
Yes.
Mrs. Straight Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Belay?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray? Ms. Green? Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Thank you.